up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. I said in one of my previous videos when I started opening about my book collection here, my love for books, and I was going to start combining some fitness and reading videos because a lot of people did say you wanted to see more of that. So today I'm going to tell you guys, or show you guys, some of the new books added to my physical TBR. In my previous video that I did for book related content, I told you my physical TBR, but it has grown since because I got some new books for the holidays. So I'm going to show you guys what those are. So this is going to be a little quick video just showing you guys some of my new reads that I'm really excited about and what I've heard about them, my thoughts going into them. So let's get into that. So we are starting off with Ruthless Vows, which, if you don't know, is the sequel to Divine Rivals. It's a duology, I believe. So I think this is the last book. So this just came recently. It just came out the previous week, and my opinion on Divine Rivals, a lot of people love Divine Rivals, and I don't know if I went into it with super high expectations and that's why I felt the way I did about it, but I just didn't get as much of the hype as everyone else. Also, a big thing for me is that the text is really small. Not a huge deal, but I just hate when books are like that. But again, I don't know if I just had super high expectations for the book because of all the hype around it, but I don't know, it didn't do as much for me. I still liked it enough to obviously want to read the second book, but it didn't do much for me. So I did get the second book. I'm hoping it redeems itself a little bit more with this duology with the second book. So Ruthless Vows is on my TBR. I'm currently reading the second Crescent City, which is House of Sky and Breath. So once I'm done with that, if I finish before the third Crescent City comes out, I will be reading Ruthless Vows next. So this is up on my list. Again, I'm hoping it redeems itself. It's about the same length as Divine Rivals, so that's good too, because it did take me a little bit to get through Divine Rivals because one, the text was smaller, and two, I just wasn't as into it as I was hoping to be. Okay, next, basically this entire top shelf is all my new books that I just recently got. My boyfriend really did pop off with the books this year. He could have done the advent calendar thing that people were doing. He didn't. He just gave them all to me on Christmas, but that's fine. So starting off, I am still missing the second book in the Cruel Prince trilogy, although I believe I've seen a fourth book. I haven't seen what that is, but a lot of people just have the 3 books. So the second one, I believe, will be here tomorrow. I got a Barnes & Noble gift card from my boyfriend despite all the books he already got me. So I did use that for the Cruel Prince trilogy, so I'm still waiting on the second book, but really excited about these books. I've heard some great things about them already, but recently they've been all over my For You page again. So I'm super excited to read these. Again, heard really good things about them, so this is on my list. I'm hoping I love it as much as everyone says. That's my thing, is I don't read what books are about, don't read the back of them, don't learn a lot of the plot. I just go by what people are sort of hyping up, which I know isn't always the best thing, but that's just how I've been doing my TBR right now, and there's just been so many books that keep coming out for book talk and all that I haven't even had to go and find books on my own. I'm just building it off what a lot of people are recommending, so pretty simple to build a TBR for that, but really excited to read this as well. I'm also not going in what my reading order is going to be. I'm just showing some ones that are recently added. So next we have the Legend of God series by Rena Kent. I haven't read anything by her, but I have heard some really good things in the dark romance world about her. So I'm super excited for these. My boyfriend did get these for me. He did say he felt uncomfortable getting books with shirtless men on them, which I thought was really funny, especially when I told him after there are updated covers that do not have them on here. But I did prefer those because, I don't know, for some reason I also don't like when there are like real people, real men or whatever like this on the front of the book. I feel like it makes it seem like it's gonna be like some corny romance, or I don't know, I just don't like it. I know don't judge a book by its cover, but like I do judge a book by the cover anyways. But I've heard such good things about these, so I'm really excited to read them for my dark romance fix. So I'm really excited about these, and we'll definitely read them in order. I literally don't even know if it's similar to the Twisted series where they're all kind of interconnected or they're all their own stories. So I'm excited for this big dark romance read, and like I said, I see these a lot recommended everywhere, so I'm excited to get into those. Next we have the Devil's Night series by Penelope Douglas, which again, I've seen everywhere for so long. This has been on my TBR for so long, but I didn't have it in my physical TBR. I just got them for Christmas. So boyfriend got me these. I'm super excited to read these. I've had them forever, just haven't pulled the trigger on like getting the whole set. So now we have them. I'm excited. I will say I am a little nervous because the only other Penelope Douglas book that I've read is Credence, whatever, which if you saw my last video, again, I did not like that at all. I feel like a lot of people either love or hate that book. I did not like it at all. It was just too weird for me. Was not a fan. There was no plot. I hated it. I did not like it at all. So now we're going into these, and I'm hoping they're a lot better. I also did mention in my first video too that I'm not a big fan of reverse harem in books, and dark romances too. And I believe I've seen that this is reverse harem, or there's some of that going on in here. I could be wrong. Again, like I said, I don't really look too much into books before I get them and before I dive into them, which I should probably do before I buy full series, but I just need to go all in. It's all or nothing. So I have heard that that's in these books, but I am more just weary of the Penelope Douglas writing only because of Credence. But I'm hoping I'll like them as much as I see that everyone else likes them. As long as there's a good story going along with it, then I can look past the reverse harm in this instance, but that is something that I'm a little weary about, so we'll see. But I'm really excited about this just because I've seen them forever. It's literally been on my TBR for like 6 months, so now that I finally have them and I'm going to be able to dive into them, I'm excited for that. Next we have What Lies Beyond the Veil. I know there is a name for this full series. I don't remember exactly what it is, but I believe there's a 4th book coming out too. It's just not out yet. So I have the first 3 right here. So I'll be excited for the 4th. Again, no idea what it's about, but I know it's a spicy romance from what I've heard, and a spicy fantasy romance. Clarify. And a spicy romantasy with a good plot is like my favorite type of book. So I'm excited about these because I do see those recommended everywhere when it comes to a good romantasy with some spice, and that is just my favorite type of category. So I'm excited for these. I haven't looked to see when the 4th book comes out, but I have quite a long TBR right now, so by the time I get through all of these books, I assume the 4th one will probably be either out or coming out soon, but I'll probably snag it because, I don't know, unless I absolutely despised books in a series, I usually always get the other books just because I hate not finishing, because you never know, it could get better. And it also just bothers me to have the books and not finish them, not finish the story. So I will probably still end up getting the 4th book, but I have a feeling that I'll like these anyway. Next we have One Dark Window and Two Twisted Crowns, which again, if you're on Book Talk, you know this has been everywhere. So people are really loving One Dark Window. I don't know, I think I've seen mixed reviews about the second one, but I have a friend who already read both of them, and I think she really liked the second one too. But I've just seen these everywhere. Apparently it's like a spooky type of fantasy romance from what I've been seeing. So that really excites me because when I first started reading, I was more into like the horror type mystery books. So I'm excited for a mix of my now favorite genres, which is romantasy and some spookiness. I don't know, so we'll see. But like I said, don't read into it, so I'll be in for a nice surprise. But I'm excited for these. It's a nice duology. I don't know if there's going to be more. I haven't heard, so I haven't looked either. but at least I have the first two. Like I said, TBR is quite long right now, so by the time I work through a lot of my books, I'm sure there will be more books out for the books that I now recently got. Before I forget this one, which was on a different shelf, this is Chained. So this is one that I've just recently seen, and honestly, I think I just saw how it was described, where it is a fantasy dark romance with some spice and a good plot. That is what I heard. So that really excited me because I love the combination of a dark romance and a fantasy, which was similar to how A Touch of Darkness is, and I loved the Touch of Darkness series. So I'm excited about this one. I think there are going to be 3 books for this series. The second one, I believe, comes out next week on January 8th, if that's the right series that I'm thinking of. And I feel like I'll already get the second book before I even read this one because that's just how I am. But so gonna be 3 books in this, and then I believe the third is supposed to come out in June. So again, by the time I get to this book, who knows? It might be June and I'll be able to get the third book, but I'm excited for a dark romance fantasy because that combines my 2 favorite genres. Okay, next we have the Book of Azrael and Throne of God, or the Throne of Broken Gods. So this is a duology, I believe. I think there's only 2 books from what I saw when I was looking at them. So I think this is complete. So I'm excited for these because when I first got into book talk, this book, the Book of Azrael, I saw literally everywhere, and I still see it everywhere from time to time. So I'm excited about this. Again, I have no idea what it's going to be about, but I've been waiting to add it to my TBR for a while, so come this time of year, it was the perfect time. So now I have these 2, so we'll be excited to get into those. Again, I have a whole order list in my notes of like what I want to read everything by, so I have no idea when these are going to come about, but I'm excited to read these because, again, I hear such good things. I think these are ones I haven't really heard a bad thing about, but I mean, I don't look into it too much. If I sort of just see what a general genre is or what categories it's being recommended in, that's kind of how I base it off what I get. Okay, next we have The Ever King, which again, I believe is supposed to have more books. I think there's going to be 3 of them and the others are not out yet. I could be wrong. I could be thinking of a different series, or I could have gotten the other ones mixed up. I don't know. Chaotic. But this one is another dark romance fantasy. So we love that. I've just recently saw this. I haven't seen a ton about this book, but I recently saw it and I sort of trust the person that posted about it, so that got me a little excited. However, when I was looking into it, so I did get it on Amazon, and if you know or if you don't know, when you scroll down and it does tell you book 1 of, whether it's book 1 of 1, book 1 of 5, whatever, and you're able to go and see the other books in the series. So I think this is going to have 3, but it did say in bold before the, plot or the summary of the book, that there is another series before this that this author wrote, which is L.J. Andrews, that is in the same world as The Ever King, and it's recommended to read that first. So I did look into that series, and there are 9 books. I don't have them yet, but for that reason, I think I put The Ever King at like the bottom of my physical TBR because I do want to read that other series first, if that is the case. And those are 9 books, so I'll need to get those 9 books. But I do have The Ever King now, so I'm excited to get into that once I read the other books. I am a little worried because if I don't like the other books, it might not make me want to read The Ever King, but I don't know if they're like 2 different stories just in the same, type of world, or if there's some of the same characters in there. So we're gonna see, but I am going to get that other series first, and then we'll get to The Ever King. Next we have Fall of Ruin and Wrath by, what is this? Jennifer L. Armarot? I don't know. I'm bad at pronouncing things. I read so much and yet I can't pronounce a single thing. Anyways, so this looks like a pretty quick read. As some of you may know, or if you don't, she is the same author of the From Blood and Ash series, which I do have the first book for, which I haven't read yet, on my physical TBR, and I do need to get the other, I believe, 4 or 5 books in that series, but again, that's something that's lower on my physical TBR, only because I will need to buy the other books in the series first. But I did get this because I've been seeing it everywhere, and people have said it is a really good fantasy with some good spice. And I love that. So this I had on my TBR originally when I saw like one of the first videos about it, and I got really excited about it, and then I recently have been seeing a ton more since then, so people must be reading this a lot more and loving it just as much as From Blood and Ash. So I'm really excited about that. As of right now, there is only one book on Amazon. It did say book 1 of 1, so I don't know if she just maybe hasn't started working on the next book or if this is a standalone book, so we'll see when we read it if it ends on a cliffhanger or not. But I'm excited to get to this one because, again, combines my two favorite things. Okay, next we have Powerless, of course. Been super excited about this one because people absolutely love it. So I can't wait to read this one. Apparently it's a really good like enemies to lovers fantasy in here. So I'm excited for this, and I know the author is working on the second book. So by the time I get to Powerless, who knows? Actually, no, this is higher up on my dog is my dog did knock my tripod over. Anyways, I know the author is working on the second book for this, and I do plan on reading this sooner in my physical TBR because I've heard such good things about it and I've just been really excited about it. So I will probably still have to wait after I read it for the second book, but I'm just really excited to finally get to this book. Now, the last book that I just recently got and have added for my physical TBR is completely different than all the rest of these books. So it is If He Had Been With Me. I feel like I just have to read it because I see it so much everywhere, and I know there is a second book coming for it. I did forget that one of my friends, we do read a lot of the same books, did not like this book. So I was thinking of a different book that I thought she didn't like. It was this one that she didn't like, so I'm a little nervous because of that. But it seems like a really quick read. Like, the words are very spaced out, and I don't know, it seems like it'll be a quick read. So I do want to read it just because I feel like I have to at this point because so many people talk about it and I just need to see what it's about. So hopefully I like it, but I saved this for last because it is very different, obviously, from a lot of what I read. I prefer dark romance, romantasy, those type of books, so it is very different from that. Same with Archer's Voice, which I haven't read yet. I talked about that in my last video. So we'll see, but I did want to get this book because I need to know what's going on. I need to know. But that is all for this video. I just wanted to show you guys my updated now physical TBR. Obviously, I went over the other ones in my previous video, so if you do want to see that and thoughts on some books I already read, you can go to that video. But I'm excited to get to all of these, and I do want to make more, obviously, reading content going into some details about certain books because I could talk about them forever. I'm not one of those people that really analyze books a lot, but I do love to just chat about them and my opinions on them. So I'm excited to get to these books, and I will be making more reading content soon. My next video, I am going to talk about the new year at the gym. So we're taking a switch back to fitness, which you can, again, use my code for Gymshark, which is Michelle M, to get 10% off, which I appreciate you guys whenever you do. So I'll be combining more book and fitness TikToks and YouTube, everything. I don't know what app I'm on. Anyways, I will see you in the next video.